Hi everyone! Today I'm excited to show you the new Aukey Home 3.5 quart Alpha Lite air fryer. Aukey Home sent this to me to try out, but they are not paying me for my opinion, nor would I ever tell you that I like something if I didn't really mean it. The thing that intrigued me so much about getting to try this out is the glass basket and viewing window. Once you get past the manuals and safety sheets, you'll see that they've included this beautiful cookbook to get you started. But I'm more interested in seeing the actual air fryer. I'm already impressed with how compact and light it is, very clean and without a lot of extra random accessory pieces. The basket pulls right out very easily. Discard this piece of cardboard and here's the cooking tray. Stainless steel with silicone feet. The stainless will make it super easy to clean. And here's my favorite part, the heat-tempered glass basket. And here's a little bumper to keep you from crashing the basket into the air fryer. You do have to push the button on the handle to rotate it so you can see the food inside while it's cooking. I had to grab one of my Pyrex bowls to compare the thickness of the glass basket. I think my Pyrex is just a hair thinner than the glass in the basket. The basket is 5 millimeters thick and is BPA and PFOA free, so it won't leach any chemicals into your food while it cooks. You guys stand by for a minute while I wash this and then we can try this thing out. Nice and clean. Let's preheat the basket to 400 for a few minutes. We have buttons for each cooking program. Air fry, roast, broil, bake, reheat, and dehydrate. There are buttons for setting the temperature and time also, and using the plus and minus buttons to adjust up and down on either of those. So I'll set it to air fry at 400 degrees and let the basket preheat for a few minutes while I make a little pizza. I love having these mini naan in the fridge or freezer because they're super handy when you need a pizza fix, but don't want to go overboard. Same thing with a good pizza sauce, but any pasta sauce would work just as well here. This air fryer is really quiet. At the end of this video, I'll do a side-by-side comparison with my other air fryer so you can hear the difference. Use any toppings you like. Today I'm going with my favorite classic, pepperoni and mozzarella. Be careful not to touch the basket at this point. It does get really hot. Okay, now I'm going to set it for 400 degrees for 6 minutes. Here's what your food sees while it's cooking. The fan is above the heating element and circulating the superheated air all around the food in the basket. You can always do the old sneak and peek to check how your food is doing, but then you'd be missing out on the fun of the viewing window. It took me a couple days to figure out that if I just touched any one of the temperature, time, plus or minus buttons on top, the light turns on for 10 seconds. I can see it easily where I am, but it'll be easier for the camera to show you if I turn off my room lights so there's no glare. This viewing window lets you see how the food is cooking without having to open the basket and let the heat escape. Then rotate the handle back into position when you want to open the basket. I could tell that my pizza was done after only 3 minutes of cooking, so I took it out early and let it cool for a few minutes before cutting into it. Not bad, not bad. Now let's try something a little more ambitious. This is a 1-pound ribeye that I've let sit out and get to room temperature for a couple hours. Pat it dry with paper towels and season with a little olive oil and steak seasoning. This is my personal favorite, but use whatever you have or just plain old salt and pepper. I like my steak rare to medium rare, so I'm going to go ahead and set this for 400 degrees for 10 minutes and flip it around the halfway mark. Still fun to check it while it's cooking. Here's the halfway flip. Oh, it's looking good already. I can usually tell by touch, but let's use a thermometer to check. I'm looking for about 125 because I know carryover heat will take me the rest of the way to 130 or so for medium rare. And now the hard part, letting it rest for at least 10 minutes before I cut into it. But don't worry, I happen to have a second steak we can cook in the meantime. This one is a 1-pound New York strip, and I'm going to give it the same treatment as the ribeye. Some of you might be thinking that just oil and seasoning is boring, but I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to steak. I hate to ruin a great piece of meat by covering it with unnecessary ingredients or sauces. Sometimes a steak just wants to be a steak. This one's a little bit thicker than the first one, so I'm going to set it for 12 minutes this time. Flipping it over at the halfway mark again. Now we'll let this one rest as we cut into the ribeye. I like to separate the cap from the eye section. This cap is the tastiest part because it's got the most fat. Then it's easier to make pretty slices with the eye part of the steak. I'd say that came out a nice shade of medium rare. What do you think? My favorite part. Yum. Steve showed up just in time. Don't forget, we still have to cut into the New York strip. Strip steak isn't as fatty, but it's still a great cut. This one turned out a little more medium than I like, so next time I'll cut back to the 10-minute cook time. Still yummy though. So I've had this Alpha Lite air fryer for a few weeks now, and have used it almost every other day. It works like a charm and cleanup is super easy. I can definitely recommend this one if you're in the market for a small air fryer, and I'll put a link to where you can buy this in the description box below, along with any discount codes Aukey passes on to me. Here's a noise and size comparison between the 3.5 quart Alpha Lite and my larger 6 quart Vortex Plus from Instant Brands. The Alpha Lite is half the capacity, so take that into consideration when you're thinking about buying. But it's also so much quieter than the Vortex. You hear that? The first time Steve heard the Vortex, he thought something was wrong with our air conditioner. But the Alpha Lite barely makes any sound at all. Another thing I discovered after a few uses is that this glass basket gets very hot and holds that heat for a long time. That makes the base really hot. So just to be on the safe side and to avoid damaging my counter, I put a couple of these cheap cork trivets under the base as a barrier. And I always have a couple extra to set the basket on. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.